Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free? And the home of the brave.
This episode of A Conversation with John Conenna is sponsored by Generate. In today's digital age, staying ahead means harnessing the power of generative AI. Wondering how your small or medium-sized business can join this revolution? Look no further than Generate, your strategic partner for integrating cutting-edge generative AI solutions. We create personalized plans, adapting existing AI technologies to fit your specific business needs. Plus, our expert team provides essential training, empowering you to make the most of these innovative technologies. Interested in transforming your business with AI? Reach out to us at generateteam@gmail.com. That's generate, GENERAIT, team@gmail.com. And now, on with the episode.
Good afternoon and welcome to another edition of A Conversation with John Conenna. Today, we're honored to have on John Vincent, Chicago vocalist. I'm going to use the word powerful Chicago vocalist in my eyes, and a lot of people's eyes. Has entertained the crowds with the covers of Frank Sinatra, Louis Armstrong, Johnny Cash, the resident national anthem singer for the Chicago Cubs, which I'm going to lay into a little bit about that because that is just bone-chilling. And, of course, we were the resident singer there for a long time for a guy who was a tight end, number 89, Mike Ditka, for the Chicago Bears. You've been all over. I mean, the Olympic bid, you were for that. You played at the House of Blues, Las Vegas, Paris Hotel, Mandalay Bay. The list goes on, young man. John, what else is going on with you, young man? And thank you for coming on this afternoon.
Oh, thank you so much, and thank you for having me. I got I've been always lucky throughout my career, and right now I still got some stuff going on with the holiday shows at Rizzo's it's called Rizzo's Bar and Inn. It's become like a yearly tradition where I do my holiday Christmas show there, and that's going to be December 3rd, 10th, and 17th. I think we're pretty much sold out, so people enjoy it. They go out to Wrigley, check out the Chris Kindle Market, go into Wrigley Field. It's all decked out, and my show starts at around 6. So it's become like a tradition. Then I've been singing at a place called the Astor Club. I've become the resident singer there. It's a private members club that was the old Maxime de Paris. Right by the old pump room, and then a lot of corporate events, and always, Cubbies. I'm always ready for Cubs season. It's not time right now, but we're ready for the convention. I can't wait for that.
Well, I got to ask you, because I saw that you were going to play with a very nice, young, talented lady on December 3rd, Daniela Crocco, who I interviewed about a year ago, Daniela. And
Daniela's great. This is the third time she's going to be performing at the show, so she's amazing. The Jersey Girls, they do such a great job, and you always love seeing talent in Chicago and everything, and all of us singers. I like when we combined and sing together and help each other out, because music is love, right? So
you got it.
So you share it with people. It just makes you feel good, right?
You
When I
got
was
it.
younger, I wanted to share that spotlight with nobody. I wanted to keep it to myself. I wanted the spotlight, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
And and then you go, no, when you sing for the right reasons, it's joyful. You know, my father would always sing around the table with my tios and my, you know, my Uncle Mario, my Uncle Ugo, my Uncle Tony, my Uncle Fernando, my Uncle Benny, my Uncle Salvatore, you know, my Uncle Joe, all of them, just Uncle Fernando, and they would be singing. My Uncle Salvatore have the accordion. And if my father didn't, you know, grow up so poor in Italy during World War II, this guy would have been a very, very famous opera singer. I mean, he was a gorgeous man, my dad, and the voice of an angel. And I mean, he can sing in Nessun Dorma, and he can sing, you know, some of the greatest opera songs and classics out there. And you're like, wow.
Yeah.
So my dad always sang it for love. He just sat around the table, had the homemade wine and the sopressata and the prosciutto, and you know,
you're making me
they
hungry.
were just there singing, you know, for fun. That's it. You know,
for sure. John, I got to ask you, just now, this little recap that you've done of the family and the singing. You got the good genes going on over here, you know. When I did a little bit of the work on you, it's really interesting. Really, I mean, you had like a second nature with this, like you said, listening to your dad and everything. When does it hit you? Because I mean, I think you start out as an accountant. When did you know that you had this voice? I mean, I know you're singing.
I obviously knew who Frank Sinatra was when I was a kid.
Wow.
But when I grew up, I listened to Top 40. So I'm in the 80s, listening to Top 40, loving Michael Jackson, loving Madonna, loving, you know, Wham, loving Culture Club, loving Huey Lewis and the News, loving, you know, those are just thumbs that are coming to me, but there's so many. That's all I listen to is 80s. Like, I'll switch over, but I love everything from the 80s and 90s, from Top 40 to rap to what was popular at that time, because it brought me back. I think everybody has that set of music in their life that they always really love because it was that time where you grew up. You could have been listening to something that was not in that time frame, but I listened to 70s and 80s music.
Sure.
I didn't listen to Sinatra. I didn't listen to any of that. It was never played at families' parties because I was actually I was with Daniela and her mother. We were on WGN last week. And I said, there's a big difference between first generation Italians and second and third. And one thing that is that I had to learn how to speak Italian if I wanted to speak to my grandparents.
Sure.
Like, they never learned English. They were here for you know, since 1960 or 1950s to the 90s, and none of them learned how to speak any English. So if I'm talking in no, I'm talking in Italian to them. Right. So they never listened to Frank Sinatra. They didn't listen to Dean Martin. They would listen to Albano, Pavarotti. They were listening to all the real Italian music. I can't remember all the names, but I have them in my phone because I remember growing up with all these Italian songs. You know, like Felicita, right? And then Lasciatemi cantare. That's a big one with Toto Cotugno. But I mean, there's so many, you know. And that's another one. I mean, it's just all in my head.
All these are in your head, right?
And it was the Italian music. Then I get to college and I meet a good buddy of mine whose grandfather, who got a connection to Sinatra, and he got his tickets to go see Sinatra Suite, to see him at the United Center. And I became very good friends with Mr. Tom Dreesen. One time, Mr. Dreesen came to Ditka's. He was sitting there with Coach, who's like a second father, Coach and Mrs. Ditka. I love them so much. They gave me my career. But Tom Dreesen had me sit down, and you know, he gave me one of the most beautiful compliments I could ever get. from somebody about a Frank Sinatra, me singing like Frank Sinatra.
Wow.
And he called me the next day. This was like 2002. He called me the next morning. He called me. I'm like, I can't believe Tom Dreesen's calling me. And ever since then, I just loved him and thanked him. I saw him not too long ago at Gibson's for the 42 Club. We did a thing for Jenny McCarthy and Donnie Wahlberg.
Oh, yes.
And he was there. He did the MC. I sang. And every time I go around that man, he's one of those guys that I find so special.
Sure.
That gift, real. Like Dennis Farina was another one.
Oh,
Joe Mantegna. I love him.
Yeah.
I love hanging out with Joe Mantegna. He's always like, so sweet. I'm like, Joe, can you do Fat Tony's voice from The Simpsons? Because I love The Simpsons. And he's like, Johnny, let me tell you. And I just love it. They're just real guys.
Yeah.
But I went to go see Sinatra in 1993 because my very good friend in college, Scotty Solano, his grandfather, got us tickets to go see Sinatra. And Don Rickles opened up, not Mr. Dreesen that night, but Don Rickles did. And I see Frank Sinatra with Frank Sinatra Jr. conducting the orchestra. Now I'm kind of getting into Sinatra because Scotty was having me listening to Frank in the dorm rooms, We were like listening to it, the Reprise album, all the greatest hit ones, the tan covered one that had That's Life, Nancy with a Laughing Face, The Way You Look Tonight, Essential Sinatra to like some a little more obscure, right? And I fell in love with his music.
Wow.
So I go now to the United Center, right, when it's brand new, and I go see Frank Sinatra, man. And I walk behind the stage and I can see that he's reading off of TVs that are in the ground. Right. And it's like orchestrated karaoke. And people might have said it might not have been Frank's best, show or this or that, but man, it was Frank Sinatra. I don't care.
And John, not to interrupt
Sinatra,
you. Yeah, not to interrupt you, but those were great ending years for him. The man.
Oh yeah.
The man still had the voice. Right.
3-year-old kid, and I had goosebumps.
Yeah. How old were you there?
I was a 23-year-old kid, and I had goosebumps, and I started singing along to the Summer Wind.
Oh, wow.
And I thought I was being obnoxious, which I was, because I'm sure I was drunk. But the box next to us did say, sing some more. Because I did it not during the show. I did it while we were leaving. And I'm like, the Summer Wind. And my buddies were like, shut up, Johnny. And then like the box next to us was like, no, sing some more. So I never thought anything of my voice. I never wanted to be a singer, nothing. I wanted to be a football player. And I played a year pro in Germany. I played a year back in 1995. Not like the money you make here. We were making $300 a week.
A game, right?
Yeah. Like an apartment, car. It was fun. It was great. My roommate was from Compton, Esdras Creighton. He was a stud from USC. I love the guy. They call him the LeBron James of Germany. He went to 7 Euro Bowls. I talked to him about 2 years ago. Esdras was a huge impact on my life.
Wow.
And it was so much fun to be there with him for a year because that gave me a whole different perspective on football. Sure. Remember, that was my dream. I'm 23. I want to get into the NFL. I don't want to sing. Singing is the furthest thing from my mind.
Right.
I became a singer because I got my heart broken, or I thought I did at this time by a person I was engaged to. And, like God says, thank God for unanswered prayers. I just say on a whim, I'm going to go to Las Vegas because I was a recruiter in accounting and finance, and I loved the president of the company. He's amazing. Still talk to his kids.
And John, this was accounting, correct? This was in your accounting.
I was a recruiter in accounting and finance. I was a headhunter.
Got it.
I worked in a casino, and then I worked at a casino as a supervisor, and then I was a recruiter in accounting and finance. So I worked at a place in Westchester called Chemical Personnel Search, and I would place accountants and financial analysts, things like that. And I did really well at the job. I got Rookie of the Year my first year. It was great. It was fun. The company was great. The people there were great. The owner I loved, and I actually sang at his memorial. He has 2 kids that are in there. Johnny and Johnny and Amy, I think, are in their late 30s or early 40s. They might be older. I don't know. I think late 30s, early 40s. And I sang at their father's memorial. the president of that company.
Oh, wow.
And Doug Christensen was his name. He was a very big influence in my life. I have, three or four huge influences in my life, and Doug is one of those. He like really, really took me under his wing.
John, I got to tell you, you are answering my questions before I'm answering. This is fantastic. Meaning, I got stuff.
I talk a lot. That's why.
No, and it's okay. Listen, I want to ask you. So you get this. I mean, this is tremendous. Just how you've built up to this level. You go see Sinatra. You've got this voice that you got this unbelievable secret going on inside of you. But now I read where you sent out a lot of cassettes. You knew that inside you had this kind of thing going on. And Diana Dick catches them.
Well, yeah. Well, no. The thing is that when I called my mom, I'm in Las Vegas because I'm still, not anymore, but still creeps and gambling degenerate. I love the damn casino like an idiot. And I'm not going to lie. I like uncomfortable conversations. I like to be very raw and honest. I messed up so many times in my life that I don't care. And I told somebody in my family the other day, I go, I'm a tremendous liar. I just don't want to be it anymore, right? And I was such a liar because I had such an insecurity around me that I was so afraid to be who I really was. And that was somebody who kind of walks to the beat of his own drum, never really felt comfortable, like always felt out of place because I was bullied, right? But in life, then, as you get older, if you could do two things, you let your mind, flows and your heart open up and kind of listen, or you can let your mind expand. And it sounds like a good thing, but the mind just likes to solve problems, so it creates it. And sometimes you just want to go with your gut feeling and say, I need to be present. I need to be in the moment. And I wanted, I became a singer in the present moment. I got my heart broken. I went to Las Vegas for a week. I gambled like an idiot. I had a blast. I was 28 years old. And I called my mother. She's like, Johnny, please, I know I do this. So you got a good job, but no, please. And I'm like, Ma, don't worry. I'm going to become a singer. I went with some cassettes, went to some places. Mr. Dana gave me a chance. Love him so much at Rosebud. I was working like Monday nights. They usually had piano players. They let me bring in this CD thing and play. And I sang like the same 5-6 songs. And then I go to another place called No Pinos in Edison Park.
I remember well right there on Northwest Highway.
Yeah, those guys were amazing. They gave me a shot. And about 6 months into this, while I'm working, I stumble into Ditka's for one reason. This guy that I work with, Tony, at CPS, Chemical Personnel Search, goes to have dinner at Ditka's. I never went into Ditka's in my life. He has dinner at Ditka's, and he goes, Johnny, I hope you don't mind. And I'm like, mind? I go, brother, you're so sweet. He goes, I gave my business card to the manager at Ditka's. They had some guy singing, and I just said to the client I was with, because he was also a headhunter, obviously, that was bringing to dinner, my buddy's trying to do Sinatra, my buddy that I work with. And the manager by the name of Todd calls me up and says, we'd like to bring you in for an audition. But while I'm walking up the stairs, Mrs. Ditka's at the top of the stairs. And I tell her this story. I was telling her the other day, I'm laughing with her, and I'm like, Mrs. Ditka, I still can't believe how it all started. I'm walking up the stairs, and the manager goes, hey, this is John. We gotta, they would rotate, like, I think 4 or 5 different singers. Everybody would do a week in a month or whatever, right? And he goes, we want you to introduce you to John. He does Sinatra. She goes, well, do New York, New York. Now here I am sweating, all nervous and everything. And I sing without any word of music or anything, New York, New York. And she goes, he's hired. And
just like that, she says you're hired, just like that.
So I'm hired just like that. And they gave, and see, that's just luck. That's luck, because I just got lucky, maybe, whatever. But she still says, Johnny, she says, she's so sweet. I mean, I love the woman so much. They are like second parents to me. They really are. Like I talk to them every day still, and I'm going to spend another week down at their house, right after the holidays, because they're just great people. They
John, and real quick, how are they doing, the two of them?
They're doing good.
Good.
They're doing good. Oh yeah.
Great.
Me and my dad FaceTime Coach and sang him happy birthday. His birthday's October 18th. And then I talked to him yesterday. I talk to Coach Mr. D every day.
Yeah, that is, but here's the thing. You get, what we touched on, of course, and she says, you're hired. This is the destiny. You know what I mean? This is the destiny.
Yeah.
You were in that right place at the right time.
You were in that right create your own destiny, right? But I got lucky there. And I went through, I suffer from mental illness, OCD, depression, anxiety, and Ditka's became a home to me. Coach, it was like, holy shit, I'm working for Coach Ditka, and he's like treating me like this, and just amazing. That's why I'll never, ever, ever, ever not be there for Coach and Mr. Ditka, because I would not be where I'm at. Yeah. There are so many great voices out there that people have that are undiscovered, that need to be discovered. And sometimes it's just the right place at the right time. But then Coach also did something to me when he personally had a relationship with me, and we'd have really deep conversations, and the advice he gave me, the advice he showed me. See, the one thing people don't understand about Mike Ditka is that you think of Mike Ditka like the big tough Bears coach. There's one thing, first of all, before I even get to that, Mike Ditka, and I was telling Mrs. Ditka this, there are only two guys that won a Super Bowl as a player, assistant coach, and a head coach, and that's Mike Ditka and Tom Flores with the Raiders. Right. But now there's only one man in NFL history that won an NFL championship, Rookie of the Year, won the Rookie of the Year, won an NFL championship, then won a Super Bowl as a player, assistant coach, and a coach. And that's Mike Ditka. Right. That's Mike Ditka. He's the only guy to do that in all of the NFL, ever in the history of the NFL. And that man is bigger than life. And we all think of Coach in one way or the other, but we always think of this big, rough, gruff man. But Coach Ditka has one of the most generous, compassionate, loving, and loyal hearts that I've ever came across in my life.
Without question, and I want
to handle. I have this much, let's say, Coach Ditka's fame is, you're talking about an A-list celebrity, a person who knew. I've seen him on the Tonight Show with Jerry Seinfeld. Right. You see him kicking and screaming. He had dinner with Will Ferrell, and John C. Reilly and all these guys. And Coach was always with all the big celebrities. Sure. Coach is still a huge name.
A huge name. Johnny, I want to just stop here for a minute. I want to just, we're at the halfway point of this, and I want to tell our audience, we are visiting today with John Vincent, and I'm going to tell everybody right now, I got to do a part 2 with this guy because John's got some of the greatest stories, so this is going to be our part 1. This is definitely going to turn into a part 2, but I got to tell you something. You hit it on the head about Mike Ditka. I met him.
I want to finish myself.
Compassionate man. The word is compassionate.
I want to tell you personal stories, though. Yeah, where I was with Coach, and he would pull out a wad of money and give not 100, not 200, not 3, but thousands of dollars to people standing on the street when he would go somewhere.
Wow.
And he would just hand them out to people.
Sure.
And I didn't see this once or twice or 3 times.
Sure.
It was repeated. It was repeated. I never saw the man turn down an autograph. I never saw the man ever. It was unbelievable. I mean, the stuff that I've seen him give to charity, to give to people, to just give people is mind-boggling. They sold it's either a Rolls Royce, and a really neat one where you got the wheel on the right side of the car.
Yeah.
It was a Rolls Royce or a Bentley, powder blue, dark blue and powder blue. They sold it to the man who was taking care of it for them for $1.
$1. You talk about, wow, that's something. I have to ask you, the way he looked at you, because it's right in the answer of your up front, from 2001 to 2018, you were the guy at Ditka's.
This 19. I was until 19, 2001 to 2019.
Yeah. Okay, I'm off by 1 year, so don't hit me over the head. No, but
I left there in November of 19.
I mean, it's just fantastic, and some of the pictures you were with him and everything. I mean, I like you said, I would love to dwell on Coach, because if I look at my Chicago Bears nowadays, we need a Mike Ditka, because he was more than just a coach, like you said. He was a motivating, compassionate man who knew the game and knew who his players were, like he knew who John Vincent was. I want to ask you something, because they were bone-chilling moments for me. I got to ask you of a date. Let's see how good and bad you are with this memory of yours. October 22nd, 2016, you are at Game 6 on Wrigley Field turf, and you're about to sing the national anthem. That's the first time I heard you. It was, I thought that was going to be the loudest, but then on October 29th, Game 4 of the World Series 2016, you're at home plate. And let me tell you, my friend, you were looking larger than life. You were at home plate. The screen in the background, if anybody wants to pull it up on YouTube, is you. And you hit that word free on both of those nights. For 23 seconds, you hung on to the word free. That place, I never heard Wrigley Field louder. Do you remember those nights?
Well, I do. First of all, very, very vividly. And I'm going to correct you a little bit there. Thank you. You're being way too kind. And that's why I'm correcting you, because you're being way too kind. Okay. That Game 6 was the favorite anthem experience of my life. I've never seen the start of a game where people were cheering "Let's Go Cubbies" like it was like you were at an NFL game, and the atmosphere, and then boom, and then Mr. Ricketts let me go on the field and just let me go on the field after the game and party with the players and celebrities and all these guys out there. And I'm like, you're part of the Cubs family. I'm like, this is just this kid who grew up on the South Side. Yeah. As a Cubs fan, because my dad was a bodyguard and we couldn't afford Sports Vision back in the day. So Cubs were always on at 120. It was just on.
Channel 9.
That's what we watched. Channel 9, 120. And then when you get off of school in the summer, it was perfect. You had the Cubs on. I was there for 84, crying my eyes out when they lost. I was there for 89. I was there. But I grew up a Cubs fan, and to think that I would have a World Series ring and do this is like one of the craziest thoughts to me, because that means something, because there's a lot of personal feeling. Going back to those two anthems, I did Game 6. Yeah, I felt like I sang really well that game, and it was good. But the World Series, I only held that note for 10 seconds. And if you look, some part of me sometimes wish I would have fainted, because it would have been hilarious to see my fat ass just collapse. I could only hold it for 10 seconds, and I take a step back, and because I was getting lightheaded. I was standing in the shower at Wrigley in the locker room, letting it steam in my vest. I was wearing a vest and everything, and I was just standing in the steam because I had a very bad cold. I did like 3 interviews that week in one day, like with CBS, Fox, or I don't know what it was, and I was running all over, and I got sick. So that World Series one, I thought, and it does sound like horse shit, but a sweetheart, like so sweet, so kind. I love when people do like amazing gestures, especially famous. When I see a famous person or a rich person take their time out to do something nice for someone, it really melts my heart, because I'm like, you think like there's like a lot of times they have so much. That's why I love Coach so much. Always signing autographs, always there, always making people feel good. That's why Ditka's restaurant they had great food and it was a great place, but Coach being there and being so accessible was a huge, big.
He made you feel welcomed. He made you feel invited. Yes.
So when I sang after the World Series, I'm like, oh, thank God, shit, I just finally get through this. Like, wow, it sounded horrible. But I look at my phone, and within the 20 minutes or half hour I had my phone off, it was like 172 text messages.
What a night, Johnny.
Well, because of one amazing woman who, and this one will say thank you. And I almost had a chance to meet her, but her concert started late. This last time she was in Chicago, and it just wasn't able to happen. But Lady Gaga tweeted, "Wow, goosebumps. Oh, that was amazing, John Vincent." It wasn't amazing. There was no goosebumps.
Well, can I correct you now?
That was
Johnny.
That melted my heart.
Johnny, can I correct you now?
Okay.
She not only says what she said, but she really says it this way in your tweet to you. That's how you sing the national anthem.
And she was being nice, brother, because I
Gaga
sounded like horseshit that day. Game 6, I would have been like, yeah, okay, I feel good about it.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to put myself down and trying to be humble. I'm trying to be real right now.
Yeah.
Game 6, I would have been like, yeah, thanks. Yeah, that was a good anthem. I felt good. But that World Series one, I was like, ah. And then she did that. I was like, man, that's so nice. That's so nice. And I just love that one. That you know, because there's been a lot of times in my life because I was bullied, I've been angry, and I would just get upset, and I would not be the nicest person to be around because the biggest person I hated was myself. The biggest person I lied to was myself. Not just because I'm 360 pounds, but the biggest person, meaning the person I did it the most to was me, because I hated me. And then I find as I get older, it really is nice to cheer people on. And when you see people in certain situations that, like, that's what I mean. When somebody is that famous, or when somebody is in a position that they don't, I'm not saying everybody is the same to me. I have friends who are billionaires, and I have friends who literally, you know, that live on the streets, that I have numbers, and that I do. I think that everybody, in a weird way, I think of everybody as my brother and sister. I didn't always think that in my life because I grew up angry because I was bullied. But the more I lost my mind during COVID, during other things and getting older, I literally feel that is when I know my true self, when my heart sees everybody as my brother and sister, I feel joy. And it sounds corny, and people can say whatever they want, but it's a joyful thing to want to make people smile. I walk into some shop. I take my wife to an appointment yesterday, and I'm walking around the Gold Coast, and I'm on Chicago Avenue, and it's called Agriculture. Man, it's shop. If you go on my Instagram, you'll see what's up there. But I don't know if you did. I walk in and I see this T-shirt, and it's actually a Christmas shirt of the Rat Pack picture of Frank Sinatra and all that.
Okay.
Okay, you know, it's all that. Hold on one second. Hold on. One second.
Got it. We're visiting here with John Vincent. I think he's going to go get the shirt of the Rat Pack, and there it is that he was just talking about. There it is. Great. There it is.
Yeah.
There's Sammy.
I'm just walking down the street. I'm walking down the street on Chicago Avenue. I see this in the window. I'm like, let me grab one for my wife, or maybe me if I get, you know, if I can try to find one that fits me. And this guy unlocks the door, and his name is Milton. Milton Luttrell, if I'm not mistaken. You'll see it on my Instagram page.
You got it.
And I go, hey, I'm talking to him, and I'm joking around, and I'm like, I want to see if those Sinatra things you have there. And he just starts talking to me. And we just started. I go, oh, I sing, I do Sinatra. And that's about it. That's all I really tell him.
Yeah.
You know, and I do a little Sinatra really quick. And he goes, John, for you, I'll give you the shirt for, you know, this price. And then he's like, no, we'll knock it off for this much. The next thing I know, he goes, John, I want to give you the shirt.
Wow.
And I'm like, it just hit me.
Sure.
Like, you see these little miracles in life. And this guy's like, I want to give you the shirt, my brother. And I'm like, what? And he gives me this shirt. And then when I get home, I open it up, and he gave me 2 shirts, one for me and my wife.
God.
And I called this guy, and I'm like, what are you doing? He goes, no, I just want to give it forward, John. Like, you know, God is good, and, you know, I love you, my brother. And he goes, and that's it. That's what you do in life. And, you know, and I show him, I'm like, I get you, you know, and I show him my rosary. And,
sure.
and I don't think of God as most people do. I think of, you know, as Jesus being a hippie that love all. Don't, as soon as you get to that second part where you start judging, which I did a lot in my life, you got to know you got like 3 fingers pointing at you. Sure. And then when I really got honest with myself, every time I pointed a finger at somebody, now I could say, shit, John, you did that. Shit, John, you did worse than that. John, stop complaining, because you know, really.
But see,
really,
you touched that store owner's heart. Listen, John,
you touched my heart.
Yeah, that's true.
I invited him to my Christmas show now. This guy was just unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Yeah. He's going to be, he'll be the first one at Rizzo's for sure. John, I got to tell you, our time is getting a little short. I know your time is very valuable today, so I really thank you for coming on. I have to ask you 5 questions because we're going to get to know Johnny a little better. Couple word answers. And then I'm going to say this now because I don't think I'll be able to get a word in edgewise. So you got to promise me a part 2 of this.
Oh,
we got to get
deal.
more
You
into your career. And just fantastic. And I'm going to leave you with something that someone said, and this is what you did for me today, and this other person said it. But let's start with a first question. Couple guys, besides your parents, question 1. Besides your parents, who were maybe like 1 or 2 mentors that still stay in your heart and in your mind?
Doug Christensen, in charge of the Office of the Secretary of the Army, Jason Easom, my sister Lisa, who is a mentor to me, and I'm the youngest of 3.
Wow.
There's so many others.
I know we could go on here forever, but yeah.
But and obviously a gigantic one, Mike Ditka.
Number
Joe
2.
Madden. Joe Madden.
Joe Madden, yeah. We're going to talk a little bit about we're going to talk a little bit about Joe at the end. Question 2. A movie that John Vincent can watch about 200 times. It's left an impression on him, and you won't get bored watching it 200 times.
Depends on what mood I'm in. But
1 or 2 movies, Johnny.
You want to go
1 or
to
2
some
movies.
action, Fugitive, I guess. The Fugitive.
Okay.
I just watched it again. I love The Fugitive.
You could go back there and watch it anytime, right?
Yeah, but then it depends again, like the mood I'm in. If I'm in a goofy mood, throw me some Tommy Boy on there, Dumb and Dumber. I just love to laugh.
That's it.
But yeah, it can change. But and Forrest Gump is another one.
It's a good one. All right,
Yeah.
question 3, Johnny. Since I'm doing the interviewing today, if you had to interview somebody, take them out to dinner for 2-3 hours, who would it be? It can't be me because I know you want to interview me, but it can't be. But who would it be, Johnny?
Jesus Christ.
Okay. That's a great answer, my friend. That's a great answer. Yeah. Thank you for that answer. All right. What's the favorite food? The main go-to for the big guy? I'll give you 1 or 2. We're Italian.
My mother's homemade manicotti with the fresh bechamel and ricotta.
Oh wow. Okay.
With that,
Hey,
she makes them like she makes the pastry. She makes the shell almost like a French crepe, so it's very, very light.
That's the way to make
the
it.
ricotta and the bechamel, it's very light, and then the sauce she makes on it.
Okay.
I think it's her best dish. It's my favorite to eat, but it's her. I think by far also her best dish.
You gotta promise
really
if she makes it, you're gonna email me. I could get there quickly to your mom's.
Yeah.
And then 2 things. It's a 2 question, but it's our last question. In about a sentence, what do you want to say about Mike Dick? And then I have a question for you after that. What do you really want to say about Mike Dick and Diana?
Unbelievable people that gave me an opportunity I would have never had a chance at, that I love and I'm always in debt to.
Thank
that
you.
I love dearly. They are family. And when you're family with me, it's over. I will give you, I can say this with confidence. When you're family with me, I'll give you everything. Everything. When I see somebody who does something for me, I feel the need to be extremely loyal to that, so loyal to that person that it's beyond loyalty. And that's one of the things Coach Ditka taught me. And that's one of the things my father taught me. And my father, if we talk mentor at the end of the day, it's my dad.
It's your dad.
Nobody went through that I know of what my father and my uncle Benny went through. And I want to talk about this really quick because this is really important.
Sure.
My father, there's a thing in Sports Illustrated. The reason a lot of people hate that I hold free because they think I'm boasting. I would rather not hold free that long. But I started holding free 10 seconds, 12 seconds, 13 seconds, 14 seconds. I started feeling the crowd cheering, the majority of the crowd, I should say. But I held free because of one reason, not for anything that anybody else can think of. But why do you think I hold free? Let me ask you. Maybe I'm being too presumptuous, thinking that nobody would get it. But why do you think I hold free?
I think you hold free from listening to you and everything else. You've really appreciated the life you have.
I hold free for freedom of humanity. That every person, I hate the thing where people say that person has to earn my respect. No, once you are born, once you are human, your respect should be given to you. You can lose respect.
Sure.
But you should never have to say that person has to earn it, because nobody has to. You being a human being, you deserve the respect. What my father went through in Italy, and what my Uncle Benny, the stories they told me, seeing their kid, they were 6, 7, 8, 9 years old, seeing kids their age, friends of theirs blown up in front of them, arms and legs blown up, a Nazi soldier putting a gun to my nonna's head. That's in free verse. It's a 2017 article in Sports Illustrated. The time my father said when he was 6 years old and he climbed over a log and he goes, Johnny, you know, I climb over the log and I know when I go with the donkey, I gotta go get the firewood. No, he had to go fight. He's not there. And I gotta make sure me and Nonna, and we have a heat. He says, so I climb over this log. I'm all wet. I got the donkey, but then the sun come up and I start, now I'm gonna dry off. 6 years old, maybe 7, 1942. Let's just say that. He's born in September of 35. He goes, I started to get sticky. I said, what happened, Dad? He goes, it's all the blood all over me. I said, what are you talking about, Dad? And this is where I'm in Italy. He's showing me the trail where he came down the mountain. He goes, I'm all full of blood. I said, Dad, what, he's like 7 again? He's like, yeah. I said, but I look at myself, man, there wasn't no blood on me, Johnny. There wasn't no blood. I said, I don't know. He came back. It was a dead soldier that he climbed over, that he thought was a log at the edge of
a log
6.
at the end, right? And John,
and he beat stage 4 colon cancer when he was 67, spread to his lymph node. And he's fighting with Lewy body, Parkinson's, dementia, why I couldn't answer earlier. That's my true mentor.
More important.
And I got damn lucky with him and Coach Tika.
John, I have to tell you, and just that story that you were telling now about with your dad, those, we will never see a generation like that. I want to leave you with something, because this is how I felt about this interview today. Someone said this about you. You just brought him up in the interview. My friend, you did this on one of the nights you sang the national anthem, and that famous manager who gave the Northsiders that World Series ring in 2016, Joe Madden. My friend, he said this about you, and I'm going to say this about you again today. You knocked it out of the park. And I truly thank you for today. Thank you so much. And we're going to do a part 2. Yeah, I'm going to hold you to it, or I'm coming. This 230-pound body is coming after that 350.
I wish I was your weight.
But wait a minute. I want to be 190. I don't want to be 230.
You're fantastic. You look great just the way you are. You look fantastic.
Right. Johnny, we're going to talk soon again. I thank you for today. This will go out on YouTube and on Spotify in about a day or so. This was fantastic. And I tell my guests all the time, for sure, John Vincent, you keep doing what you're doing, because you're tremendous. Good night, everyone. Thank you.
I love you. You have a great one.
You too, Johnny.
Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and